I was just setting the last plate on the table when Daniel's phone buzzed on the counter. It was face up. A message preview glowed on the screen. I missed last night, same time tomorrow. From Emily, my closest friend. My chest went cold. My first thought was that it had to be a joke, some stupid inside thing I didn't get. But my fingers moved before my brain could catch up, unlocking the phone. The thread opened. And there it was, a picture. Her bare shoulder, the strap of her dress slipping down Daniel's hand on her waist. I couldn't breathe. The room spun. My fingers shook so hard the phone nearly slipped from my grip. The front door opened. "Babe, I'm home." Daniel's voice was bright, casual, the way it always was when he thought the world was fine. I shoved the phone back onto the counter, screen down. He walked in, loosening his tie. "Smells amazing." "What's for?" He froze, studying my face. What's wrong?" "Nothing," I said too quickly. "Come on." He moved closer. "You look pale. What happened?" I forced a smile, just tired. He kissed my cheek and my stomach turned. His lips smelled faintly of cologne, not the one I bought him. "You sure?" he asked, searching my face. "I'm fine." We sat down to eat. He started talking about his day, something about a new client. I heard words, but none of them stuck. My mind was replaying Emily's laugh, the time she'd hugged me, called me sister, told me Daniel was the perfect guy. And then Steve spilled coffee all over the contract. Total mess. Daniel chuckled. I nodded. "That's funny." "You're not listening." His tone shifted. I said, "I'm tired." He leaned back in his chair. "Tired of what?" "Nothing." He frowned but didn't push further. The silence between us was thick. He kept eating, kept pretending my food didn't taste like ash. Halfway through dinner, he said, "You didn't even ask about my promotion." "What promotion?" His eyebrows lifted. "See? You weren't listening. I told you last week." I gripped my fork. "I guess I forgot. You've been distracted lately. I wonder why." He paused, studying me. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing," I said again, but my voice cracked. He set his fork down. "Something's wrong? Just say it." My heart pounded. I wanted to scream, "You've slept with my best friend." But the words stuck in my throat. I couldn't give him the satisfaction of seeing me break. Not yet. Instead, I said, "I'm just not hungry." I pushed my plate away. Daniel sighed, grabbed his phone, and started scrolling. My stomach twisted. He was probably texting her right now, right in front of me. I got up, taking my plate to the sink. "I'll do the dishes later." "I can help," he offered. "No, go shower. You smell like the city," he smirked. Wow, romantic. "Just go." He didn't argue. His footsteps faded down the hall, the bathroom door shutting behind him. The second I heard the water running, I grabbed his phone. My hands shook as I scrolled back through their messages. There were weeks of them, photos, inside jokes, hotel addresses. And then I saw one from yesterday. "You make me feel alive." Doesn't get you like I do. Tears blurred my vision. My hands went numb. My phone buzzed on the counter, jolting me. Unknown number. I almost ignored it until I saw the name .Emily. I swiped to answer. "Hello." Her voice was bright. "Hey, stranger." I said nothing. "You there?" "Yes." My voice was flat. "Good. I wasn't sure if you'd pick up." "Listen, about Daniel, don't." My throat tightened. "Oh, come on." She laughed softly, like this was all some game. "I'm not the villain here. You've been, what's the word, distant? If he needed someone, you were supposed to be my friend." My voice shook, but I didn't care. I was. I still am. Friends don't sleep with each other's husbands. She sighed. "You really want to have this talk now? Over the phone? Why not? That's how you started it." "Not fair." I laughed bitterly. "You think fairness matters here?" There was a pause. Then she said, "If you'd been enough for him, maybe this wouldn't have happened." Breath caught. "You're unbelievable. I'm honest. You've been falling apart for months. And he needed someone who wasn't broken. That word broken sliced straight through me. You're pathetic, I whispered. Maybe, but he's with me now. I heard the shower shut off in the distance. Emily's tone softened, almost mocking. You should move on. Find someone who can handle your mood swings. Don't call me again, I said, but my hand wouldn't hang up yet. Why? Afraid you'll hear how happy we are. I ended the call before she could say more, my fingers trembling. Daniel's footsteps echoed down the hall. I shoved his phone back where I found it and leaned against the counter, trying to steady my breathing. He walked in, hair damp, towel slung over his shoulders. Who was that? No one, I said quickly. He narrowed his eyes. You're lying, am I? I forced a smile. His jaw tightened. If you've got something to say, say it. I took a deep breath, but the words wouldn't come. Not yet. The phone buzzed again. I glanced at the screen. Emily's name lit it up like fire. I picked it up and I answered. Asterisk her laugh crackled through the speaker, sharp and effortless. If you were enough for him, Emily said, maybe this wouldn't have happened. I gripped the phone tighter. You're seriously saying that to me right now? I'm saying the truth. He was unhappy. You've been a little depressing to be around lately? My stomach twisted. We were friends. We still are, she said, almost casually. I just love him in a way you can't. I mean, you sleep with him in a way I don't. She chuckled again. Do you always twist things to make yourself the victim? I clenched my teeth. And you always find a way to excuse yourself. I don't need excuses. Daniel knows what he wants. I felt heat rising in my chest. He wants a liar. She didn't even flinch. No, he wants someone who doesn't drown him in her sadness. Do you even hear yourself lately? Every conversation is about how hard life is, how tired you are. He needed a break from all that. My voice dropped. A break from his wife, from the weight you carry. You were supposed to make him feel alive, not drag him down. Words dug deep, each one finding the rawest part of me. I hung up before she could say more, but her voice kept ringing in my ears. Every coffee we'd shared, every night we'd stayed up talking, every time she called me sister, all of it. Curdled into something foul. The bathroom door opened. Daniel's footsteps came closer. I didn't look at him when he entered the kitchen. Did you have a nice shower? He glanced at me, towel still around his neck. Yeah, what's going on with you tonight? I turned slowly, meeting his eyes. How long? His brow furrowed. How long what? I kept my voice steady. You and Emily. For a moment, nothing. Then he exhaled, rubbing the back of his neck. You found out. That's all you have to say. What do you want? Me to say. The truth. He hesitated, then said, months. Since last fall. Felt my lips tremble, but I kept my tone soft. While you were telling me you were working late, yes? And while she was sitting across from me at brunch telling me how lucky I was to have you. His eyes dropped. Yeah. I stared at him. Do you feel guilty? He shifted, uncomfortably. I didn't plan it. That's not an answer. He sighed. Of course, I feel guilty. But I was lonely here. My voice sharpened. Lonely? You had me. You were here physically, but you've been distant for months. Ever since he cut himself off. Ever since what? He hesitated. Ever since you started shutting me out. I stepped closer. I was dealing with things. You knew that. I know. But I couldn't keep waiting for you to come back to yourself. And Emily just happened to be there. So listened, he said simply. She listened because she wanted you. That's not fair. I almost laughed. You want to? Talk about fairness. He ran a hand through his hair. I'm just saying you weren't the same person I married. You were too sad lately. He stopped again, but the word hung there. To what? I pressed. He finally said it. Too broken to love. It hit me like a punch to the chest. Broken, I repeated, my voice almost a whisper. He looked away. I didn't mean, yes, you did. Silence filled the kitchen, thick and heavy. I shook my head. You could have talked to me. Could have asked for help. Instead, You crawled into bed with my best friend. She made me feel wanted again, and I didn't." His shoulders slumped. "Not in a long time." I swallowed hard. "So what now?" He took a deep breath. I think I should go." I froze. "Go where?" "To Emily's." The words felt unreal, like they belonged to someone else's life. "Tonight?" He nodded. "Yeah, tonight. You're really walking out on me just like that. I don't want to drag this out." I stepped back, my hands curling into fists. "You've already been dragging it out for months." "Sorry," he said quietly. "No, you're not." His jaw tightened. "I don't know what else to say. Say you'll stay and try." "Can't." I stared at him, my heartbeat thundering in my ears. "Then go," I said finally. He didn't. "Move. I'll pack a bag." I turned away so he wouldn't see my tears. "Do whatever you need to do." His footsteps retreated toward the bedroom. I stood in the kitchen, every muscle in my body trembling. The sound of drawers opening and closing echoed down the hall. When he returned, duffel bag slung over his shoulder, he paused in the doorway. "I didn't want it to end like this. It didn't have to," I said without looking at him. He lingered for a second, then stepped out into the night. The door clicked shut, and I was alone. I drifted from room to room, fingertips brushing the backs of chairs, the edges of tables, the frames on the wall. "We picked that lamp together," I murmured to no one, my voice thin in the empty air. The silence pressed in, louder than any argument. I couldn't remember the last time the house had felt this still. My phone buzzed. Claire's name lit up the screen. I answered. "Hey, have you eaten?" She asked immediately. I shook my head even though she couldn't see me. "Not hungry, you have to eat something. I can't." Her sigh crackled over the line. "Block them both. Delete their numbers, you'll feel better." I closed my eyes. It's not that simple. It is. He's gone. She's gone. The end. I swallowed hard. The end doesn't feel like this. You're torturing yourself. Every minute you think about them is another minute they win. I'm not thinking about them. I lied. Yes, you are. I can hear it in your voice. I sat on the edge of the couch, staring at the dent in the cushion where Daniel used to sit. How do you stop loving someone who betrayed you? You remind yourself they're not who you thought they were. I pressed my palm into the dent until it flattened. That's the problem. I keep remembering who I thought he was, then stop remembering. I gave a bitter laugh. It's easier said than done. She softened. You can come stay with me. Get out of that house. I looked around at the walls we'd painted together, the shelf we'd argued about installing. I can't leave yet. Why? Because if I leave, it's real. It's already real, she said gently. My throat tightened. I know. Claire was quiet for a moment. I'll check in tomorrow. Promise me you'll at least try to eat. I'll try. Love you. Love you too. I hung up. Before my voice broke, the night stretched on, curled up on the couch, knees to my chest, phone in hand. My thumb hovered over the photo gallery. One tap. And there we were, smiling in restaurants, on beaches, under Christmas lights. I swiped. Through, my chest aching with each image. Then I froze. In one photo taken last summer at a barbecue. Daniel stood between me and Emily. I was laughing at something off camera, but his eyes were on her. Not a glance, not a passing look, a gaze, focused, soft. I zoomed in. My heart sank. Another picture a month later. We were at the lake. I was holding the camera. Daniel was mid-laugh, but again, his eyes weren't on me. They were on her. I kept scrolling. It wasn't just once or twice. It was in dozens of pictures, moments I'd thought were hours, where his attention had already shifted. The betrayal hadn't come crashing in all at once. It had been seeping in, right in front of me. I dropped the phone onto my lap and pressed my hands to my face. How did I not see it? I whispered into my palms. The clock on the wall ticked past midnight. I lay down, but sleep wouldn't come. The house felt like a hollow shell, every creak magnified. I could almost hear Daniel's laugh in the hallway. Emily's voice in the kitchen. When I couldn't stand the stillness anymore, I picked up my phone again, scrolling aimlessly just to fill the silence. That's when the text came in. A number I didn't recognize. I know what they did to you. Meet me. My pulse jumped. Asterisk. The message burned on my screen. I know what they did to you. Meet me. I typed back before I could think. Who are you? A few seconds later, Mark, Emily's ex. Then an address. I stared at it, debating, my thumb hovering over the delete button. Finally, I grabbed my keys. We met at a coffee shop that smelled like burnt beans. He was already there, sitting in the corner. His tall, dark hair, tired eyes. I slid into the seat across from him. Why did you text me? He leaned forward. Because I know what they did. My voice was cold. Everyone knows now. No, he said, shaking his head. You don't know all of it. I folded my arms, then enlightened me. He pulled out his phone, scrolling. Emily and I were together for 2 years. Till last month. I thought she loved me. That makes 2 of us, I muttered. His jaw clenched. Daniel was your husband. He was my friend. We used to hang out, double dates, weekends away. And the whole time he turned the phone so I could see. Messages Emily to Daniel. Last night was amazing. Another, can't wait to see you when. She's gone. Dates going back months. I pushed the phone away. I don't want to see this. You need to, he said. Because they didn't just hurt you. They made fools out of both of us. I looked at him. Why are you really here? 'Cause you're the only person who understands what it's like. Everyone else tells me to move on. Forget it. But you can't just forget. I rubbed my temples. What's the point of digging it up? It's already over. His eyes darkened. Is it? They're still walking around like they've won. They think we're too broken to do anything. I let out a short, humorless laugh. Maybe we are. That's what they're counting on. I stared at the chipped edge of the table. I don't have the energy to fight them. You don't need to fight. You just need to stand. Stand for what? The truth, he said simply. I shook my head. The truth doesn't fix anything. No, he agreed. But it can ruin them. Something in his voice caught my attention. Ruin them? How? He leaned in, lowering his voice. Emily cheated on me before Daniel. Multiple times. She brags about it to her friends. I've got the screenshots. Okay? And Daniel, let's just say you're not the first wife he's cheated on. It's not possible. It's not possible. It is. I've got proof of that too. He slid a small envelope across the table. I didn't touch it. What do you expect me to do with this? Whatever you want, he said. But I think we can do more if we work together. I studied his face, looking for an angle, a trap. Why do I feel like this isn't about justice? It is, he insisted. But it's also about balance. They took something from us, we take something back. I gave a bitter smile. Revenge? He didn't flinch. Call it accountability. I sat back, crossing my arms. I'm not like you. You're exactly like me, he said quietly. You're just still bleeding. Wait until the wound scabs over. You'll want them to hurt too. I stared at the coffee between my hands. What good does it do? I hurt them, they hurt me back, and it never ends. They won't get the chance, he said. I shook my head. You don't know Daniel. I know his type, he said. I know hers. People like them only stop when the mask comes off and everyone sees what's underneath. I was silent for a long moment. You said you had proof. He tapped. The envelope enough to make them turn on each other. That got my attention. How? Emily's convinced she's the only one. She doesn't know Daniel's been seeing someone else for the past few weeks, and Daniel, he still thinks Emily's loyal to him. A bitter laugh escaped me. They deserve each other. Yes, he said, his voice hardening. And they deserve to fall together. Something flickered inside me. Not forgiveness. Not yet. But it wasn't despair either. I picked up the envelope, feeling its weight. "If I open this, there's no going back," he finished. I met his eyes. "Should I trust you?" "You don't have to," he said. "Just trust that they'll destroy each other once the right sparks are lit." I looked at the window, the street lights blurring in my vision. "I don't know if I can." "You can," he said. "Because you're stronger than you think." "Don't feel strong, neither did I," he admitted, till I stopped letting them write the story. I traced the edge of the envelope with my finger. "And you think we can, what, end them?" "I think we can make sure they can't hurt anyone else," he said. The coffee shop door opened, letting in a rush of cold air. I pulled my jacket tighter. "If we do this, it has to be careful. No one can know it's us." His mouth twitched, in something almost like a smile. "Agreed." I slid the envelope into my bag. The paper crinkled softly, like it was alive. We sat in silence for a moment. "You're quiet," he said. "I'm thinking about what?" "About how everything feels different when you're not the only one who knows the truth." He nodded slowly. "It's easier to breathe." "Maybe," I said. "Or maybe it's just easier to light the match when someone's holding it with you." He didn't answer. I pushed my chair back. "I need time to think." "Take it," he said, "but don't take too long." I stood, pulling my bag over my shoulder. My heart was pounding harder than when I'd walked in. As I turned to go, his voice followed me. "One question." I paused. "What? Are you willing to help me expose them?" Mark slid into the booth across from me, dropping a folder onto the table. "Got more?" I eyed it, like it might burn me. "What's in there?" "Screenshots, receipts, a couple of videos you might want to see." "I don't want to see any of it." "You should," he said. "Every piece is a brick in the wall we're building." I sipped my coffee, bitterness cutting through the taste. "Feels more like a pile of rubble." He leaned forward. "Then we'll make it into something they can't climb over." I opened the folder reluctantly. Text threads lit the page. "Emily. I told him I was at the gym. LOL. Daniel. She bought it." My throat tightened. "She was lying to you and me at the same time." He gave a humorless chuckle. "They made an art form out of it. I set the papers down, okay? And you just keep this stuff. Every word, every receipt," he said. "It's not paranoia if they really are out to screw you." Smirked despite myself. "That's comforting. It's meant to be fuel." I tapped the table. "Okay, what's the first step?" "Build the file, complete, airtight. No one can question it." I nodded slowly. "And then we decide how to use it." I leaned back. "Feels like we're plotting a heist." "In a way we are," he said. "It's a heist to steal back our dignity." That made me pause. "And what happens if this blows up in our faces?" "Then at least we didn't just let them win." We spent the next hour trading files. He slid his phone to me, a video of Daniel in a bar, leaning close to a woman who wasn't Emily, whispering in her ear. My stomach flipped. "When was this?" 2 weeks ago, Mark said. "They were already together." "Exactly." I started sending him what I had old receipts where Daniel claimed to be on business trips. But the hotel charges didn't match the conference cities. Late night charges to bars he swore he'd never been to. He grinned. "You're good at this." "I hate that I'm good at this." "You hate what made you good at this?" he corrected. I didn't answer. Later, at home, I opened my laptop and started a journal not for evidence for me. Every hurt, every lie, every little memory that still burned. The time Emily hugged me and whispered, "You're lucky to have him." The night Daniel came home smelling of someone else's perfume. The dozens of times I told myself I was imagining things, it poured out faster than I could type. The next morning, my eyes ached from staring at the screen, but the words kept coming. Mark texted, "Got more meat tonight?" We met again, same coffee shop, same corner booth. He slid another envelope over. "This is gold." I opened it. Emily's social media messages bragging to a friend about how Daniel was so much better. Then her last boyfriend, meaning Mark, and how she couldn't believe he still trusted her. I closed my eyes. I can't believe I ever called her my friend. Mark's jaw was tight. I can. She made you believe it. I stared at the messages again. So what's the plan? Still collecting. When we have enough, we leak it. To who? Everyone. Who matters to them? Family? Friends? Work? Burn every bridge they have. I hesitated. That sounds final. 'Tis. I traced the edge of my coffee cup. And if it's not enough? He smiled grimly. It will be. That night, sleep didn't come easy. When it did, it came in pieces. Flashes of Emily's smirk. Daniel's voice saying, "You're imagining things." Their laughter blending. Together. In the dream, I screamed until my throat tore. But they didn't stop laughing. I woke up sweating, heart hammering, staring at the dark ceiling. My phone buzzed, a message from Mark. Sleep. Barely, I typed back. Me too, he replied. We're getting closer. Over the next week, the pile grew. Screenshots, hotel logs. Pictures of Emily at bars with other men before Daniel. A string of Venmo payments between them labeled with inside jokes. I didn't understand and didn't want to. Each time I saved a file, I felt something strange. Not joy, not relief, but a piece of myself settling back into place. Mark noticed. It too. You're different, he said one night. How so? Less broken. I shrugged. Maybe I'm just getting numb. Or maybe you're remembering you have power. I didn't argue, but I wasn't sure. One evening, I sat at my desk, scrolling through the folder we'd built. My journal sat open beside me, half filled with memories I'd avoided for years. For once, the words didn't hurt as much to read. That's when the email came, no subject, just an attachment. I hesitated before opening it. A gold-embossed invitation filled my screen. You are cordially invited to celebrate the engagement of Daniel Carter and Emily Ross. My stomach lurched. Asterisk, the email. Sat open for a long time before I moved. My finger hovered over the delete key. Mark's voice played in my head. We decide how to use it. I typed, I'm going. He replied almost instantly. You sure? No, I muttered, staring at the gold lettering. But karma needs a stage. When the night came, I pulled the dress from the back of my closet, the one Daniel once said was too bold. For me, Mark whistled when I stepped out of the car. Bold enough. I adjusted the neckline. It'll do. Inside, music floated over low conversation. Heads turned as we walked in. Emily stood near the stage, champagne in hand, her smile perfectly rehearsed until she saw me. For a fraction of a second, it cracked. Then, oh my God. You came. She moved toward me, arms wide. Of course, I said. Letting her hug brush past me, Daniel trailed behind her. Eyes flicking anywhere but mine. Daniel, I said lightly. He gave a stiff nod. Didn't expect to see you here. Funny? I could say the same. Mark coughed to hide a laugh. Emily looped her arm through Daniel's. We're so glad you could celebrate with us. I wouldn't miss it, I said. Big night. She tilted her head, searching my face. You look different. Do I? I sipped my champagne. Must be the lighting. Mark drifted toward the bar, melting into the crowd. Our eyes met briefly. A silent, I'm ready. I mingled, shook hands, laughed at jokes. Let people tell me how happy they were for the couple. Each word felt like static in my ears. A woman leaned in. How do you know them? Oh, we go way back, I said. Daniel passed nearby, his gaze skimming. Over me like I wasn't there. I caught his arm. Congratulations. His jaw tightened. Thanks, I smiled. She's lucky to have you, he hesitated, searching for the trap. Yeah, Emily appeared again. We're about to start the toasts. You'll stay, won't you? I wouldn't dream of leaving. Mark returned with 2 glasses. Nerves. He asked under his breath. I'm fine. My hands betrayed. Me, trembling slightly, He lowered his voice. Remember? Polite, calm. They won't see it coming. I know. We stood near the stage as Emily's maid of honor took the microphone, telling a story about how Daniel and Emily met. Laughter rippled through the room. My pulse drummed in my ears. Every word was fiction, polished until it gleamed. Mark's hand brushed mine briefly. Almost time. The best man followed with his own speech, full of cheap jokes and praise. Daniel smiled like he deserved every word. I caught Emily scanning the crowd, making sure the room adored her. When her eyes landed on me, she froze for half a beat, then lifted her glass. And now, she said, voice bright, we'd love to hear from some of the people who mean the most to us. Mark leaned in. You don't have to, yes? I said. Emily gestured toward the microphone. Anyone? Silence. People glanced at one another. I stepped forward. Daniel's smile faltered. Emily blinked rapidly. Oh, you. Me, I said and started toward the stage. The microphone waited in the center, the light hot on my face. The room murmured. I wrapped my fingers around the stand. My heart pounded so loudly it felt like the speakers might catch it. The microphone felt cold against my palm. I smiled at the crowd like I belonged there. I'd like to tell you a story, I began. A love story about Daniel and Emily. Emily's mouth curved into something too tight to be a smile. Daniel stared at the floor. They met, I said, in the warm glow of a summer evening. She was radiant, kind. He was well taken. Few heads turned. Taken as in unavailable. Already married. I let the word hang. To me, the murmurs started, soft but growing. Emily's voice cut in, brittle. I think, no, please, I said. It's important, 'cause what's love without a little deception? Someone coughed. Glasses clinked. I remember the first time Emily hugged me. I went on. She told me she admired my marriage. She said I was lucky, and I believed her. Even when she was holding my hands, was holding his, too. A low gasp rippled across the tables. Daniel muttered, this isn't the time. Oh, it's the perfect time. My voice sharpened, 'cause a story should be told where it began and where it ended. I shifted my gaze to Emily. You knew, didn't you? Every dinner, every text, every kiss that wasn't yours to take. You smiled in my face and lied. Emily's knuckles whitened around her glass. This is ridiculous. Mark's voice rang from the back. Is it? All eyes turned as he walked forward. Because I've got the receipts. My stomach tightened as he held up his phone. Literally. He tapped, and the projector screen flickered to life behind us. The first image appeared. A string of messages between Emily and Daniel, dated months before our divorce. The flirtations, the plans, the hotel booking confirmation, gasps. Louder now, an older man near the front whispered to his wife, my God, Mark swiped again. More messages, photos, selfies with timestamps. One of them together, in my living room while I was out of town. Enough. Daniel's voice cracked. Emily hissed. Turn it off. Mark shook his head. No, I think everyone deserves the whole story. A video played, Daniel laughing in bed, Emily beside him. The camera catching their faces before they realized it was recording. A sharp intake of breath came from somewhere behind me. Chairs scraped as people shifted uncomfortably. Emily's face flushed deep red. You're pathetic. I tilted my head. Funny. That's exactly what you said to me the night I found out. She set her glass down hard. We're leaving. Daniel avoided my eyes. Let's go. But the whispers followed them as they moved. Cheater, liar, disgusting. Emily shoved the door open. Daniel trailed behind her, shoulders tight. Door slammed. The room stayed silent for a long moment before someone muttered, wow. Mark leaned toward me. You okay? I let out a slow breath. Better than I've been in a while. We didn't stay long. The party fizzled into awkward clumps of conversation. People glanced at me, then away, as if deciding whether to approach. Mark walked me to my car. That was something messy, I asked. Explosive. The drive home was quiet. My phone buzzed non-stop messages from numbers I didn't recognize. Some were supportive, others not so much. When I finally got inside, I kicked off my shoes, poured a glass of water, and sat in the dark. For the first time in months, the silence didn't feel like it was crushing me until morning. The knock came. At 8 a.m. sharp. Deliberate? I opened the door. Daniel stood there. Asterisk, the knock still echoed in my head when I opened the door. Daniel stood there, hands in his pockets, eyes darting past me like the hallway was more interesting than my face. Ken, we talk. He asked. I hesitated. You've got 2 minutes. Stepped inside anyway. I'm sorry, he began. I folded my arms. For which part? The cheating, the lying, or the public humiliation? He winced. All of it. I messed up. Emily, she's not who I thought she was. A laugh escaped me, sharp. Oh? And who exactly did you think she was? Someone better than she is, he said. Someone who cared. Turns out she what? Lied to you? Betrayed you? I tilted my head. Guess you know how it feels now? Shoulders sagged. I miss you. I stared at him. You miss what you destroyed. I miss us, he said quietly. You're the only one who ever really knew me. For a second, my chest tightened. That old reflex, the part of me that wanted to be needed. I shook it off. You mean the only one who tolerated you? That's not fair, he said. We had good years and bad ones, I shot back. Like the night you told me I was too broken to love? His mouth opened, closed. I didn't mean yes you did, I said. I remember exactly where I was standing, by the kitchen sink. You didn't even look at me when you said it. He rubbed his jaw. I was angry. I didn't know how to help you. You didn't want to help me, I said. You wanted someone easier. His voice rose. I wanted my wife back. I stepped closer. Your wife never left. You just stopped seeing her. He looked down at the floor. I was scared. You weren't the same after everything with your family. And then I met Emily, and I cut in. Don't give me the tragic I fell into it speech. You made a choice. Every text, every lie, every kiss a choice. Silence stretched between us. I think about you every day, he said finally. That's not the compliment you think it is, I replied. He exhaled slowly. I'm not here to fight. I'm here to make things right. I barked a laugh. Right? Daniel, there's no right after this. There's just after I know, he said. But I thought maybe there's still something left. I walked to the window, staring at the street below. You know what's left? Key? I'm what's left, and I'm not broken anymore. You just don't get to see the pieces. His voice cracked. I never stopped loving you. I turned back to him. You stopped respecting me, and without that, love doesn't mean much. He took a step closer. We could try again. I shook my head. You're still thinking this is about whether I want you? It's about whether I can ever trust you, and I can't. You could, he said quickly. In time. Trust is built, not begged for, I said. And you didn't just burn the bridge, Daniel. You blew it up and salted the ground. He flinched. You've changed. Good, I said. That was the point. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The clock ticked loud in the quiet. Then he said it. Can we start over? Asterisk, I stared at my phone, his question still glowing on the screen. Can we start over? Not because I wanted him, but because I wondered if revenge was enough. Claire's voice cut through my thoughts when I called her. Block him, right? Now, I trailed off. Nothing, she said. You got what you wanted. He's humiliated. Emily's exposed. Don't give him another inch. Not giving him anything. You're giving him your time, she shot back. That's worse. I sighed. Part of me wonders if walking away is too easy. Claire scoffed. Walking away is the hardest thing you'll ever do. And it's the only way you win. Later. Over coffee, Mark leaned across the table. Forgiveness isn't weakness, he said. but letting him close again. That's suicide. I'm not planning to. Then what's the hesitation? I don't know, I said. Maybe I want him to see me choose not to choose him. Mark shook his head. You don't owe him a performance. You owe yourself peace. That night, I decided. I texted Daniel, tomorrow, noon. The park, the next day. He was already there when I arrived, standing under the bare branches like a shadow, waiting to speak. You came, he said. I said I would. He searched my face. So have you thought? About what I asked. I have, I said, and I reached into my coat pocket and pulled out the small velvet box. His eyes widened. You kept it, he whispered. I did, I said. Not because of what it meant to us, but because it was the last piece I hadn't decided what to do with. He swallowed hard. You could put it back on? No, I said. I'm giving it back. I pressed it into his palm. This is the last piece of me you'll ever have. His hand closed around it slowly. So that's it. That's it. He stepped forward. We could. I'm walking away now. I interrupted. Don't follow me. I turned before he could answer, the sound of my boots on the gravel louder than anything he might have said. When I reached the street, my phone buzzed. It was Emily. One last message. Emily's message popped up while I was rinsing my coffee mug. Hope you're happy now. I stared at the screen, my fingers dripping water onto the counter. I am. I said out loud to no one. Claire's voice came through the phone seconds. Later, you sound weird. What happened? Emily messaged me. What did she say? I read it again slowly. I hope you're happy now. Claire snorted. That's it. After everything. That's the best she's got. Apparently, I set the mug down. The strange part is, I am happy, and not because she's miserable. Good. That means you've evolved into a higher life form, one with better taste in men. I laughed. You're ridiculous. You're free, she said, softer now. It's all that matters. The next day at my new job, mentioned it to Mark while we waited for the printer to cough up a stack of invoices. She's fishing, he said. She wants to know if she still matters to you. She doesn't, then don't reply. Won't? He glanced at me. Seriously, delete it, block her, whatever you have to do. You've got a good thing going here. Don't let her pull you back into their mess. Eh? Smiled. Already blocked. That night, I pushed a paint roller up my apartment wall, watching the dull beige disappear under a deep, rich green. Clara sat cross-legged on the floor with a glass of wine, handing me the roller tray like she was my assistant. This is therapeutic. She said, it is, I agreed. Feels like claiming the space. You should have done this months ago. I wasn't ready. She took a sip of wine. And now I want everything to look different. New job, new walls, Noom, Claire, smirked. So what's next? New boyfriend? Don't push it. Over the next few weeks, I filled the apartment with plants, framed art, and little pieces of myself I'd once packed away. One Friday, found myself telling a coworker named Lena about the green walls. That's bold, she said over lunch. Daniel, used to call it too much, I told her, and you painted it anyway. Yes, because I like it. She grinned. I like you. It hit me later that night how easy it was to be seen without being judged. 2 months passed before I saw him again. It was late, and the air had that crisp bite of fall. I'd just left dinner with friends when I spotted him across the street. Daniel? He stood near the lamppost, hands in his pockets, staring at the ground. He looked smaller somehow. For a second I waited for the sting in my chest, that old ache. But nothing came. Only distance, like I was watching someone else's story play out. He looked up, and for a heartbeat our eyes met. No smile, no nod, just recognition. Then a car passed between us, and I turned away. Claire called later. You okay? Yeah, I saw him. Oh, he looked lost, but it didn't hurt this time. That's good, she said. That's healing. I think so. On Sunday, Mark dropped by with coffee. "You've been quiet lately," he said, settling onto the couch. "I've been thinking about them, about me, about what happiness actually means. And it's not revenge. It's not watching them fall apart. It's knowing I survived and I'm still standing." Mark raised his cup to standing. I clinked, mine against his, two standing. That night, I sat on the balcony with a blanket wrapped around me, listening to the city hum. My phone lit up with a picture from Clarice painting the walls, both of us covered in streaks of green. I laughed. And for the first time, it felt like my laughter belonged entirely to me. A week later, walking home from work, I passed the corner where Daniel and I used to meet for lunch. I didn't slow down. At the next block, I saw him again across the street in the fading light. He looked up, almost like he'd been waiting. I didn't stop. I turned the corner and kept walking. My own life waiting.